Picture this. A 13-year-old kid standing in front of a mirror, hands shaking, watching his skin flicker in and out of existence. His fingers are stuck to the glass. He cannot pull them away. In 6 hours, his entire world will shatter. In 6 hours, the greatest hero his city has ever known will die in the street. And this boy, terrified and confused, will carry the weight of a question that will haunt him forever. Could I have saved him? You think you know the story of Spider-Man. You have seen the origin a dozen times. The bite, the powers, the responsibility. But what happens when Spider-Man already exists? What happens when the world already has its hero? And you are just a kid from Brooklyn who never asked for any of this. What happens when you gain incredible power on the exact same day you lose the chance to prove you deserve it? This is not the story of the first Spider-Man. This is the story of the Spider-Man who had to watch his predecessor fall. The Spider-Man who wore a mask soaked in guilt before he ever stopped his first crime. The Spider-Man whose mother would die because he chose to be a hero. The Spider-Man who was never supposed to exist at all. Miles Morales did not want to be special. He wanted to survive middle school. He wanted his parents to stop fighting about his future. He wanted his uncle to stop showing up at 2 a.m. with bags full of things he would not explain. He wanted normal. But on one summer night in Brooklyn, inside an abandoned building that smelled like rust and spray paint, a spider found him. And normal died with a single bite. By the end of this story, you will understand how a boy became a legend, how grief became power, how the shadow of one hero created the light of another. You will see the moments that broke him, the losses that defined him, the impossible choice between saving his city and saving his soul. This is the complete timeline of Miles Morales, and it begins with a world that did not know it needed him yet. Let's go back to the beginning, back to Brooklyn, back to before the mask, back to when Miles Morales was just a kid trying to figure out where he belonged. This is my channel, and here stories are everything. Brooklyn, New York, present day. Earth 1610, the ultimate universe. A world that already has a Spider-Man, and his name is Peter Parker. For years, Peter has been the city's guardian. The man in the red and blue suit swinging between skyscrapers, stopping bank robberies, fighting monsters that crawl out of secret laboratories. New York knows his name, they trust him. Some love him, some hate him. But everyone knows that when the sky falls, Spider-Man will be there to catch it. This is the world Miles Morales grows up in. A world where heroes already exist, where the Ultimates, this universe's version of the Avengers, patrol the streets alongside S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and armored soldiers. A world where Norman Osborn's experiments have created as many monsters as miracles. A world where the Daily Bugle publishes front-page attacks on Spider-Man every single morning. And J. Jonah Jameson screams into cameras that masked vigilantes are a plague on society. Miles does not think much about Spider-Man. He has bigger problems. He is 13 years old, Afro-Latino, born and raised in Brooklyn to parents who love him so fiercely it sometimes feels like pressure crushing his chest. His father, Jefferson Davis, is a police officer, a good cop in a system that does not always reward goodness. Jeff is a man who believes in rules, in order, in the thin line between right and wrong. He is also a man haunted by his past. Before the badge, before the uniform, Jefferson ran with the wrong crowds. He did things he will never speak about, things that still wake him up at night drenched in sweat and shame. He escaped that life. Barely, and now he has built his entire existence around one single mission: make sure his son never walks the path he did. Jefferson hates Spider-Man, not because Spider-Man is evil, but because Spider-Man represents everything Jeff fought to leave behind. Masks, secrets, vigilante justice outside the law. To Jefferson, Spider-Man is chaos dressed as heroism, and chaos, in his experience, only ends in blood. Miles' mother, Rio Morales, is a nurse at Brooklyn General Hospital. She works 12-hour shifts in the emergency room, stitching up gunshot wounds and holding the hands of people who will not make it through the night. Rio has seen what violence does to families. She has watched mothers identify their children on cold metal tables. She has heard the screams that come when hope dies. And yet, somehow, Rio still believes in goodness. She believes people can change. She believes her son can be anything he wants to be. She believes love is stronger than fear, but love does not pay for private school tuition. Miles won a lottery, literally. His name was pulled from thousands of applicants, and now he attends Brooklyn Vision's Academy, a prestigious prep school where the other kids show up in cars that cost more than his parents make in a year. Miles is the scholarship kid, the charity case, the kid who does not quite fit in anywhere, not at Visions, where everyone seems to speak a language of wealth and connections he does not understand, and not in his old neighborhood anymore, where his childhood friends look at him differently now, like he thinks he is better than them. Miles exists in between, stuck, and he hates it. His only escape is art, graffiti specifically. Late at night, Miles sneaks out with spray cans tucked into his backpack and paints murals on warehouse walls. Bursts of color in a gray city. Secret signatures that no one knows belong to him. In those moments, hands covered in paint, the world makes sense. There are no expectations, no one watching, no pressure to be someone he is not sure he can become. And then there is Uncle Aaron. Aaron Davis is Jefferson's younger brother, and he is everything Jeff is not. Cool, relaxed, unconcerned with rules or responsibility. Aaron shows up at random times with gifts Miles' parents cannot afford. New sneakers, art supplies, tickets to concerts. He takes Miles out into the city, shows him the Brooklyn that exists after dark, teaches him to be confident, to take up space, to stop apologizing for existing. Miles loves his uncle, worships him even. Aaron is the adult who does not make Miles feel like a disappointment waiting to happen. What Miles does not know, what no one in his family knows, is that Aaron Davis is the Prowler, a high-tech thief who works for Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime. Aaron steals experimental technology from places like Oscorp and Roxon, sells it to the highest bidder, and disappears into the night on a suit equipped with claws and gadgets that make him nearly invisible. Aaron tells himself he is surviving, that the world does not give people like him chances, so he takes what he needs. Deep down, buried under layers of justification, Aaron knows the truth. He is exactly what his brother escaped. And every time he sees Miles, shining with potential and hope, Aaron feels the weight of his own failures. But he keeps smiling, keeps pretending, keeps bringing his nephew into his world without ever admitting how dark that world truly is. This is the environment Miles grows up in, a city of heroes and villains, a family split between law and crime, a school where he does not belong, a neighborhood he is leaving behind. Oscorp towers loom over the skyline, monuments to scientific ambition that has created as many catastrophes as cures. The Daily Bugle screams propaganda. The Ultimates hold press conferences. And somewhere above it all, Spider-Man swings through the air, alone, carrying the weight of millions. Miles Morales is 13 years old. He wants to draw. He wants to fit in. He wants his parents to stop arguing about whether Vision's Academy is worth the sacrifice. He wants normal. He has no idea normal ended the moment a spider escaped from his uncle's stolen bag. Miles first appeared in Ultimate Fallout Issue 4, published in 2011. He was created by writer Brian Michael Bendis and artist Sarah Pichelli as a new Spider-Man for a new generation. The Ultimate Universe was designed as a fresh start, a place where Marvel could reinvent its heroes for modern audiences without decades of complicated continuity. And when Peter Parker died in that universe, Miles Morales was born to carry the legacy forward. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Right now, Miles is just a kid, lying in his dorm room at Brooklyn Vision's Academy, staring at the ceiling, listening to his roommate Gank Lee snore like a chainsaw. Tomorrow he has a physics test he has not studied for. Tomorrow his dad will call and ask if he is staying out of trouble. Tomorrow will be normal. Except tomorrow, Uncle Aaron is going to text him. And Miles, desperate for a break from the pressure and the pretending, is going to say yes. Hey guys, tonight we dive deep into the extraordinary world of spider lore, exploring hidden origins, untold tragedies, impossible choices, and the events that shape the destiny of our favorite heroes and villains. So before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, get comfortable, and let us begin our journey into the Spider-Verse. It starts with a text message. Yo, you free tonight? Got something cool to show you. Miles stares at his phone. It is 9 p.m. on a school night. His parents think he is at Brooklyn Visions doing homework. Technically, he is. Technically, he could ignore this message, finish his essay on the American Revolution, and go to sleep like a responsible student. But Miles has been responsible all week, all month, all year. He is tired of responsible. He is tired of being the version of himself everyone expects. He texts back. Yeah. Where? 20 minutes later, Miles is on the subway heading back to Brooklyn, hoodie pulled up, headphones in, watching the city blur past in streaks of light and shadow. He feels guilty. He always feels guilty when he lies to his parents. But he also feels alive in a way he does not feel sitting in a dorm room surrounded by textbooks and expectations. Uncle Aaron is waiting outside an abandoned building in Red Hook. The structure is massive, 5 stories of crumbling brick and shattered windows. Graffiti covers every surface. It used to be a warehouse. Now it is a ghost. There he is, Aaron grins, pulling Miles into a quick hug. My favorite nephew. I am your only nephew, Miles says, but he is smiling too, which makes you the best by default. Aaron jerks his head toward the building. Come on. I want to show you something. Inside, the air smells like rust and old concrete. Aaron leads Miles through hallways filled with forgotten machinery, past rooms where pigeons nest in the rafters. They climb stairs that creak under their weight. And finally, Aaron pushes open a door to reveal a wide open space on the 4th floor. The far wall is nothing but windows, cracked and half missing, overlooking the lights of Brooklyn spreading out like a glowing carpet. Check it out, Aaron says, gesturing to the wall opposite the windows. It is covered in graffiti, massive murals layered over each other. Tags and pieces from artists Miles has followed online for years. His eyes go wide. This is illegal, Miles says. So is half the art worth seeing, Aaron shrugs. He pulls 2 cans of spray paint from his bag and tosses one to Miles. Your mom and dad got you in that fancy school, but they cannot teach you everything. Sometimes you gotta learn by doing, so do something, make your mark. Miles looks at the can in his hand. Red, his favorite color. He looks at the wall, at the space waiting to be filled, and he starts to paint. For an hour, maybe 2, Miles loses himself. The hiss of the spray can, the smell of the paint, the way colors bloom across concrete. Aaron works beside him, their styles different but complementary. Uncle and nephew, side by side, creating something that will only exist until the next person paints over it. Temporary, beautiful, free. Miles does not notice the bag in the corner. The black duffel stuffed with tech Aaron stole from an Oscorp transport 3 days ago. Experimental equipment meant for a lab upstate. Among the circuit boards and prototype processors, there is a small containment cylinder. It was supposed to hold a genetically modified spider, Spider 42, the same program that created Spider-Man years ago. The cylinder is cracked, and the spider is gone. Miles is crouching, adding detail to the bottom of his piece when he feels it. A sharp sting on the back of his hand. He jerks, swatting instinctively. A small shape tumbles to the floor. He looks down and sees it. A spider. Bigger than normal. Its body gleaming with an unnatural iridescence, colors shifting under the dim light. It twitches once, twice, and then goes still. You good? Aaron calls from across the room. Yeah, Miles says, shaking his hand. It burns. Like a wasp sting, but deeper, hotter. Just a spider. Brooklyn spiders are hardcore, Aaron laughs. Probably gave you superpowers. They both laugh. Neither of them knows how true that statement is. Miles shoves his hand in his pocket, trying to ignore the pain. They finish their pieces. Aaron takes photos. They leave the building around midnight, and Aaron drops Miles off a block from the Visions Academy campus. Miles sneaks back into his dorm, careful not to wake Genk, and collapses into bed. His hand still burns. By morning, everything has changed. Miles wakes up at 6 a.m., head pounding, body drenched in sweat. His alarm is screaming. He reaches to turn it off, and his hand sticks to the clock, not like tape, like his skin has fused with the plastic. He pulls. The clock comes with him, dangling from his palm. Panic floods his chest. What the? He shakes his arm. The clock flies off, smashes against the wall, and Genk bolts upright. Dude, what is wrong with you? I don't know. Miles stares at his hand. It looks normal, feels normal. But when he presses it against his bed sheet, the fabric clings to his skin like a magnet. He pulls, and the entire sheet lifts off the mattress. Genk's eyes go wide. Bro, are you sticky? I don't know. Miles is breathing hard now, fear and confusion swirling in his gut. Something bit me last night, a spider, and now I can't stop sticking to things, and I feel like I'm going to throw up, and everything is too loud. A spider? Genk scrambles out of bed, grabbing his phone. What kind of spider? Was it glowing? Did it have weird colors? How did you know that? Genk starts typing frantically. Because that is literally how Spider-Man got his powers. Radioactive spider, genetically modified spider. I have read every article, every theory. If you got bit by one of those, that is insane. Miles cuts him off, but his voice shakes. Because it is not insane. Because his hands are sticking to everything he touches. Because his senses are screaming, every sound too loud, every light too bright. Because deep down in the part of his brain that cannot lie to itself, Miles already knows the truth. The next week is a nightmare. Miles cannot control his hands. He sticks to door handles, to desks, to other students' backpacks when he accidentally brushes against them in the hallway. He rips a bathroom stall door off its hinges. He crushes a basketball in gym class. His clothes stick to his body, and twice he wakes up on the ceiling, suspended above his bed like gravity forgot he existed. Genk helps him hide it, covers for him when teachers ask why Miles is acting strange, researches everything he can find about spider genetics and mutation. They spend nights in the dorm room testing Miles' abilities. Web shooters are not biological. Miles cannot produce webbing naturally, but he can stick to any surface. He can lift objects 5 times his weight without straining, and he is fast, inhumanly fast. And then there are the new powers, the ones that do not match Spider-Man at all. One night, arguing with Genk about whether to tell his parents, Miles feels a surge of energy pulse through his body. It builds in his chest, hot and electric, and when he touches Genk's shoulder, there is a flash of light. Genk collapses, twitching, eyes rolling back. Miles screams, thinking he just killed his best friend, but after 30 seconds, Genk gasps and sits up. What was that? Genk's voice is hoarse. I do not know. Miles stares at his hands. His fingers are crackling with faint yellow bioelectricity. I felt it, like lightning inside me. They later learned to call it the Venom Strike, a bioelectric shock that can stun, paralyze, or in high doses, stop a human heart. The second new power manifests 3 days later. Miles is in the shower, steam filling the stall, when he looks down and realizes he cannot see his body. His skin, his clothes, everything has turned the exact color and texture of the tile wall behind him. Camouflage, perfect, seamless invisibility. He is not Peter Parker. He is something different, something new, and he has no idea what to do with it. Miles tries to live normally. He goes to class. He does his homework. He nods when his father calls and asks if everything is okay. But the guilt is eating him alive. He has powers, real powers, and he is doing nothing with them. Every time he sees the news, every time he watches Spider-Man swing across the screen saving lives, Miles feels the weight of his own cowardice pressing down on his chest. He wants to tell someone. He wants to tell his parents. But every time he imagines that conversation, he sees his father's face twisting in anger and disappointment. Jeff hates Spider-Man. What would he do if he found out his own son was turning into one? So Miles stays silent. He practices in secret. He learns to control the sticking, to turn it on and off at will. He learns to trigger the venom strike without knocking Gank unconscious. He learns to hold the camouflage for minutes at a time. And every night, he lies in bed and tells himself he will figure this out. He will find a way to fix this, to go back to normal. And then on a cold October afternoon, Peter Parker dies. Miles is in chemistry class when the news breaks. The teacher's phone buzzes, then another student's, then another. Within seconds, the entire room is staring at screens and someone gasps, "Oh my God!" The footage is everywhere. Shaky cell phone video, news helicopters circling, Spider-Man, costume torn and burned, lying in the street, Aunt May kneeling beside him, Mary Jane Watson sobbing, the Ultimates arriving too late. Norman Osborn, transformed into the monstrous Green Goblin, had orchestrated one final attack. The Sinister Six all at once, coordinated and brutal. Peter fought them, fought until his body gave out, until the webbing stopped coming, until he collapsed, mask half torn, revealing the face of a boy not much older than Miles. And then he died, in the street, surrounded by strangers with cameras. Miles watches the footage loop on the classroom projector. He watches Spider-Man's chest stop moving. He watches grown adults cry. He watches the city realize it just lost its greatest hero. And all Miles can think is, I could have helped him. I have powers. I have had them for weeks. And I did nothing. The guilt is immediate, crushing, unbearable. Miles runs to the bathroom and throws up. He stares at his reflection in the mirror, tears streaming down his face, and hates himself. That night, Miles does not sleep. He lies in the dark, Gank silent in the bed across from him, and replays every moment. Every time he chose to hide. Every time he was too scared to put on a mask. Every time he told himself he was not ready. Peter Parker is dead, and Miles Morales, with the same powers, did nothing to stop it. The funeral is held in Queens. Thousands of people attend. Miles watches from a distance, hidden in the crowd, unable to make himself get closer. He sees Aunt May broken and hollow. He sees Mary Jane, eyes red and empty. He sees Tony Stark give a speech about heroism and sacrifice. He sees flowers and candles and photographs covering every surface. And he sees a little boy, maybe 6 years old, wearing a homemade Spider-Man costume, holding his mother's hand and crying. That night, Miles makes a decision. He cannot bring Peter Parker back. He cannot undo his failure, but he can make sure it never happens again. He can honor the hero who died by becoming the hero the city needs. Gank helps him design the first suit. It is rough. A black hoodie and sweatpants with red webbing patterns drawn in marker. Gank orders web shooters online, cobbled together from tutorials and 3D printed parts. They do not work well. Half the time they jam. The other half they shoot webbing in random directions. But it is a start. Miles stands on a rooftop in Brooklyn at 2 a.m., wearing his terrible costume, hands shaking, heart pounding so hard he thinks it might explode. Below him, the city sprawls. Lights and noise and millions of people who have no idea he exists. He thinks about Peter Parker, about responsibility, about the guilt that will follow him forever if he does not do this. And then Miles Morales jumps. He falls, wind screaming past his ears, terror flooding every nerve. And at the last second, instinct takes over. His hand shoots out. Webbing fires. It catches a fire escape and Miles swings. Awkward, painful. He slams into a wall, scrapes his shoulder, but he is alive. He is moving. He is Spider-Man. The first night is chaos. Miles crashes through his swing and slams face first into a brick wall. His nose explodes with pain. Blood fills his mouth. He tumbles 3 stories, manages to fire another web at the last second, and ends up dangling upside down above a dumpster in an alley that smells like rotting food and broken dreams. His shoulder screams. His ribs ache. Every part of his body is telling him this was a mistake. He pulls himself up the web line, hand over hand, muscles burning, gets back to the rooftop, stands there breathing hard, tasting copper, vision blurring. And then he hears it. A woman screaming 2 blocks away. Miles does not think. He runs toward the sound, jumps, shoots a web, and this time the swing connects. He crashes through the arc, barely maintains control, but he is moving. He is going toward the sound, toward someone who needs help. He lands in an alley where 3 men have cornered a woman against a chain-link fence. They have not seen him yet. They are too focused on their victim, on the purse they are trying to rip from her hands, on the fear in her eyes. Miles drops from above, silent, invisible. His camouflage holds until he is 3 feet away. Then he lets it drop. The men spin around. One of them has a knife. "Back off," Miles says, and his voice cracks. He sounds like a kid. He sounds terrified because he is. The man with the knife laughs. "Who are you supposed to be? Discount Spider-Man." "Just leave her alone," Miles tries again, fists clenched. The man lunges. The blade flashes under the streetlight, and Miles' body reacts before his brain catches up. Spider sense explodes in his skull, a screaming alarm that tells him exactly where the knife will be. He twists. The blade passes an inch from his ribs. His hand shoots out and grabs the man's wrist. Energy surges through Miles' arm. The venom strike fires without conscious thought. Yellow electricity erupts from Miles' palm. The man convulses, eyes rolling back, and collapses. The knife clatters to the pavement. The other 2 men stare. The woman stares. Miles stares at his own hand, still crackling with bioelectric charge. "Run," Miles whispers to the woman. She runs. The 2 remaining men look at each other. Look at their unconscious friend twitching on the ground. Look at the kid in the homemade costume whose hand is literally glowing. They run too. Miles stands alone in the alley, adrenaline flooding his system, hands shaking so badly he has to shove them in his pockets. He just used his powers on a person. He just attacked someone. The man is still breathing, chest rising and falling, but Miles knocked him unconscious with electricity that came from his own body. He saved someone. He stopped a crime. He did what Spider-Man would do. But it does not feel heroic. It feels terrifying. Miles climbs back to the rooftops and makes his way home. He sneaks into his dorm at 4 a.m., peels off his bloody hoodie, and stands in the shower until the water runs cold. Gank wakes up, sees the bruises forming on Miles' ribs, the scrapes on his face, and does not ask questions. Just hands Miles an ice pack and goes back to sleep. Miles lies in bed and stares at the ceiling. His body hurts. His mind races. But underneath the fear and the pain, there is something else, something that feels almost like purpose. The next morning, the news runs a story. Mysterious figure stops mugging in Brooklyn. Witnesses report someone in a Spider-Man costume using electrical powers. The report is brief, skeptical. Most people assume it is a copycat, a kid playing dress-up. J. Jonah Jameson has a different opinion. He dedicates an entire segment to the insult of someone wearing Spider-Man's colors so soon after Peter Parker's death. He calls it disrespectful, a mockery, a cheap imitation trying to capitalize on tragedy. Miles watches the segment in the common room at Vision's Academy. Other students laugh at Jameson's rage. Miles feels every word like a knife. That night he goes out again, and the night after that, and the night after that. The learning curve is brutal. Miles fractures his left wrist on a bad landing, dislocates his shoulder trying to stop a car chase, gets stabbed in the thigh by a man he tried to arrest for breaking into a bodega. Gank stitches the wound with a sewing kit at 3 a.m. while Miles bites down on a leather belt to keep from screaming. "This is insane," Gank whispers, hands covered in Miles' blood. "You are going to die." "I am getting better," Miles says through gritted teeth, and he is, slowly, painfully. He learns to trust his spider sense, to let his body react without overthinking. He learns to web swing in arcs instead of straight lines, using momentum and gravity instead of fighting them. He learns to use his camouflage strategically, turning invisible mid-fight to reposition, to strike from angles his opponents cannot predict. The Venom strike becomes his signature, a touch that ends fights instantly. Criminals start talking about the new Spider-Man who can shock you unconscious, who appears out of nowhere, who moves differently than Peter Parker, faster and more aggressive, less experienced but more desperate. Miles' grades start slipping. He falls asleep in class, misses assignments. His teachers express concern. His father calls more frequently, sensing something is wrong. Miles lies. He has become very good at lying. 2 months in, Miles stops a warehouse fire in Red Hook. He gets 12 people out before the building collapses. The news runs his photo. Blurry, taken from a distance, but clear enough to show the black suit with red webbing. Clear enough to show this is not Peter Parker. The city starts to notice. Some people appreciate the effort. Others call it disrespectful. The debate rages online, on talk shows, in coffee shops. Is this new Spider-Man honoring Peter's legacy or spitting on it? Miles reads every comment, absorbs every criticism, lets it fuel his determination. He upgrades his suit. Gank helps him order better materials, black fabric with actual armor padding underneath, red accents that glow faintly in the dark, web shooters that actually work consistently, designed using blueprints Miles found in online forums dedicated to Spider-Man technology. The costume is not perfect, but it is his. 3 months after Peter Parker's death, Miles faces his first real supervillain. The Kangaroo, a low-level thug enhanced with experimental leg implants that let him jump entire city blocks. The man is robbing a jewelry store in Manhattan when Miles arrives. The fight is ugly. The Kangaroo is stronger, more experienced, and completely willing to kill. He kicks Miles through a storefront window, stomps on his chest hard enough to crack ribs, laughs while doing it. "You are just a kid," the Kangaroo sneers, standing over Miles. "You think you can replace Spider-Man? You are nothing." Miles' vision blurs. Blood fills his mouth. His spider sense is screaming. And somewhere deep in his chest, beneath the pain and the fear, anger ignites. He is not nothing. Miles goes invisible. The Kangaroo stumbles back, confused, searching for his opponent. Miles launches himself from the ground, reappears mid-air, and drives both fists into the villain's jaw. The Venom strike fires at full power. Lightning erupts. The Kangaroo's body goes rigid, muscles locking, and he crashes to the pavement unconscious. Miles collapses next to him, gasping, ribs screaming. Police sirens wail in the distance. He drags himself to his feet, shoots a web, and disappears into the night before anyone can get a clear look at him. That night, Miles cannot make it back to Visions. He ends up on a rooftop in Queens, too hurt to move, watching the sunrise paint the city gold. He pulls out his phone with shaking hands and sees the news alerts. New Spider-Man defeats supervillain. Kangaroo arrested, hero's identity still unknown. Hero. They called him a hero. Miles closes his eyes and lets himself feel it, just for a moment, the validation. The proof that maybe he is not just some kid pretending. Maybe he can actually do this. His phone buzzes, a text from his mother. "Where are you? Your father is worried, call us." The guilt crashes back down. Because while Miles was out fighting monsters, his parents were terrified. While he was proving himself to strangers, he was lying to the people who love him most. Miles calls home, lies about staying at a friend's house to study, listens to his mother's relief and his father's stern reminder about responsibility, promises to be better. Then he hangs up and stares at the city below. Responsibility. That word again. The word that defined Peter Parker. The word carved into his tombstone in every article written about his death. With great power comes great responsibility. Miles understands it now, not intellectually, viscerally, in his broken ribs and torn muscles, in the civilians he has saved and the criminals he has stopped, in the exhaustion that never fully goes away. He has power, more than most people will ever have, and that power demands something from him, demands everything from him. Miles makes his way back to Vision's academy, sneaks into his dorm, Genk is waiting, first aid kit already open. You look like hell, Genk says. Feel worse, Miles admits. Genk cleans the wounds, wraps the ribs, does not lecture. They have moved past lectures. Now Genk just helps, researches villains, monitors police scanners, covers for Miles when teachers ask questions. You know this is going to get worse, right? Genk says quietly. The more you do this, the bigger the threats become. That is how it works. I know, Miles says, and you are still going to do it. I have to, Genk nods, because he understands. He has read every Spider-Man story, watched every documentary. He knows how this goes. Once you put on the mask, you cannot take it off. Not really. Not when people are counting on you. Over the next 2 months, Miles' reputation grows. He stops armed robberies, prevents car accidents, pulls people from burning buildings. The media begins using his name. Spider-Man, no qualifier, no new or replacement, just Spider-Man. Some people still hate it, still think he is disrespectful. But others, especially in Brooklyn, start to embrace him. Street art appears showing his black and red suit. Kids wear homemade versions of his costume for Halloween. The neighborhood begins to feel protected again. Miles tries not to let it go to his head, tries to stay humble. But after months of doubt and criticism, the acceptance feels like oxygen. And then, on a cold December night, someone is waiting for him on a rooftop in Queens. Miles lands after stopping a break-in, breathing hard, and freezes. There is a woman standing in the shadows, tall, red hair, a costume that mirrors his own design philosophy, sleek and modern. She steps into the light and Miles' spider sense does not trigger, which means she is not a threat, or she is so dangerous his sense does not know how to categorize her. You have been busy, she says. Her voice is calm, measured. Impressive work for someone with no training. Who are you? Miles asks, muscles tensing. Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, and we need to talk. Miles has heard of her. Another spider-powered hero working with S.H.I.E.L.D., connected to the larger superhero community. She is legitimate, experienced, everything he is not. What do you want? Miles keeps his distance. Jessica studies him. To see if you are serious about this, or if you are just a kid playing hero until reality hits. I am serious. Prove it. What follows is the most brutal hour of Miles' life. Jessica does not hold back. She attacks with the precision of someone who has been doing this for years. She exploits every opening in Miles' defense, every hesitation, every mistake. She does not use her full strength. She does not need to. Her technique alone is enough to dismantle him. Miles fights back with everything he has. Venom strike, camouflage, speed. Nothing works. Jessica counters every move like she wrote the playbook he is trying to read. Finally, exhausted and beaten, Miles collapses on the rooftop. Jessica stands over him, barely winded. You have power, she says, but power is not enough. You fight like someone who learned from YouTube videos and luck. I am trying, Miles gasps. I know, that is why I am here. Jessica extends a hand. Miles takes it and she pulls him to his feet. You want to be Spider-Man, really be him. Then you need to learn how to fight, how to think, how to survive. You will train me, if you can keep up. And now comes the moment that changed everything. But before we reach that turning point, we need to understand why it had to happen. Over the next 3 months, Jessica Drew becomes the mentor Miles desperately needed. She teaches him real combat technique, how to read an opponent's body language, how to use his powers in combination instead of isolation, how to swing efficiently, fight strategically, think 3 moves ahead. The training is brutal. Jessica does not care about his excuses or his pain. She pushes him past his limits and then demands more. But Miles improves rapidly. His natural athleticism combined with proper instruction transforms him from a scrappy amateur into something approaching a real hero. Jessica also introduces him to the wider world, tells him about S.H.I.E.L.D., about the Ultimates, about the network of heroes operating across the globe. She does not reveal his identity to anyone else. That is his choice to make. But she makes sure he understands he is not alone. One night after a particularly hard training session, Jessica asks the question Miles has been avoiding. Why are you doing this? Really? Miles is silent for a long time. Then quietly he tells her about the spider bite, about having powers when Peter Parker died, about the guilt that eats at him every single day. I could have saved him, Miles whispers. I had the same powers and I was too scared to use them. Jessica's expression softens. You were a kid who just got superpowers. Peter was an experienced hero fighting enemies he had faced for years. You would not have saved him. You would have died next to him. You do not know that. I do, because I have been doing this long enough to recognize a suicide mission when I see one. Jessica puts a hand on his shoulder. You cannot save everyone. Not even Spider-Man could do that. The guilt will destroy you if you let it. Then how do I stop feeling it? You do not. You carry it. And you use it to make sure you are ready the next time someone needs you. Miles thinks about that. About turning guilt into purpose. About honoring Peter not by dying like him but by living as someone worthy of the name. It helps. Not completely, but enough. By spring, Miles is operating at a level that surprises even Jessica. He takes down the Ringer, a villain with advanced weaponry, in under 3 minutes. He stops the Bombshell, an explosives expert from destroying a subway station. He works with the police instead of against them, leaving criminals webbed up with evidence clearly marked. Captain America hears about him, shows up one night on a rooftop where Miles is catching his breath. You are doing good work, Cap says, shield resting on his back. The city needs heroes, especially now. Miles almost faints. Captain America, the actual Captain America, talking to him, approving of him. Thank you, sir, Miles manages. Jessica speaks highly of you, says you have potential to be one of the best. Cap's expression is serious. The Ultimates could use someone like you, when you are ready. No pressure, but the offer stands. Miles does not accept. Not yet. He is not ready for that level. But knowing the offer exists, knowing that Captain America sees value in him, changes something fundamental. He is not just a kid in a costume anymore. He is becoming something real. 6 months after Peter Parker's death, New York holds a memorial, a statue unveiled in Queens. Peter in his classic costume, mid-swing, bronze and permanent. Thousands attend. Miles stands in the crowd out of costume watching. Aunt May gives a speech. She talks about Peter's kindness, his courage, his unwavering belief that people are worth saving. She cries. The crowd cries with her. And then May says something that breaks Miles completely. Peter would want someone to continue his work. He would want the city protected. Whoever you are out there wearing the mask now, thank you. Thank you for honoring my nephew. Thank you for keeping his dream alive. Miles cannot breathe, cannot move. The weight of her words crushes him and lifts him simultaneously. After the ceremony, Miles waits, watches the crowd disperse. When most people are gone, he approaches Aunt May. She is standing alone by the statue, one hand resting on the bronze. Mrs. Parker, Miles' voice shakes. She turns, sees a young teenager nervous and sad. Can I help you? Her voice is kind even through grief. Miles almost loses his nerve, almost walks away. But he owes her the truth, or at least part of it. I just wanted to say I am sorry about Peter, and I promise I will do my best to honor what he built. May's eyes narrow slightly, studying him, and Miles realizes with a shock that she knows. She figured it out. The new Spider-Man is young, inexperienced, and here is a kid the right age saying exactly what the new Spider-Man would say. What is your name? May asks gently. Miles Morales. May nods slowly. She does not confirm what she knows, does not ask him to admit it. Instead, she puts a hand on his cheek, the gesture so motherly it makes Miles' eyes burn. Peter would have liked you, she says. He always believed anyone could be a hero, regardless of where they came from. I am trying to be worthy of that. You already are. May squeezes his shoulder. But be careful. This life takes everything. Make sure you hold on to the people who love you. Miles nods, not trusting his voice. May walks away, leaving Miles alone with the statue. He looks up at Peter's bronze face, frozen mid-swing, forever young, forever heroic. "I will make you proud," Miles whispers. And for the first time since the spider bit him, Miles believes he might actually succeed. The city changes when it starts to trust you. Miles feels it in small moments. The way people stop running when he arrives at crime scenes. The way kids point and smile instead of looking confused or scared. The way the Daily Bugle's headlines shift from "Imposter dishonors Spider-Man" to "New Spider-Man stops fifth robbery this week." He is becoming part of the landscape, part of the story New York tells itself. But trust is fragile, and Miles is about to learn how quickly it can shatter. It starts with Wilson Fisk, the kingpin, the man who runs half of New York's criminal empire from behind legitimate business fronts and legal shields. Fisk has been watching the new Spider-Man, studying his patterns, identifying weaknesses, and Fisk knows something Miles does not. He knows who the prowler is, knows that Aaron Davis has a nephew, knows that nephew goes to Brooklyn Vision's academy. It would not take much to connect the dots. Fisk does not move directly. He is too smart for that. Instead, he tightens the noose slowly. He increases Prowler's assignments, sends Aaron into more dangerous situations, pushes him to steal more valuable tech, makes it impossible for Aaron to walk away without consequences. Aaron feels the pressure. He is tired of the life, tired of lying, tired of seeing his nephew look at him with admiration Aaron knows he does not deserve. But Fisk does not let people retire. Retirement means knowing too much and having nothing to lose. Retirement means becoming a liability. So Aaron keeps working, keeps stealing, and tries to ignore the feeling that everything is about to collapse. Miles, unaware of his uncle's growing danger, is dealing with his own escalation. The villains are getting worse. Not just street thugs anymore. Actual super criminals with powers and technology that push Miles to his absolute limits. He fights the Beetle, a woman in advanced armor who nearly kills him with sonic weapons. His spider sense saves him at the last second, warning him to dodge a blast that would have liquefied his internal organs. The fight destroys half a city block. Miles wins by using his venom strike to short-circuit her suit's power core. She crashes into the East River, and Miles has to dive in to pull her out before she drowns. The news calls it a heroic victory. Miles calls it surviving by inches. He faces the Scorpion, a man mutated by Oscorp experiments into something barely human. The fight takes place in the subway tunnels. Miles uses the darkness and his camouflage to his advantage, striking from shadows, staying mobile. But the Scorpion's tail is fast. It catches Miles across the ribs, poison dripping from the stinger. Miles feels the venom burning through his bloodstream. His enhanced metabolism fights it off, but for 6 hours he is delirious with fever, hallucinating in his dorm room while Gank frantically researches antidotes. "You almost died," Gank says when Miles finally stabilizes. "But I did not," Miles rasps. "What happens when you do? What happens when you do not come back?" Miles does not have an answer. The fights teach him hard lessons. He learns that hesitation kills, that mercy can be a weapon but also a vulnerability, that some people cannot be saved, only stopped. He learns to trust his instincts, to let his body react before his mind catches up. The spider sense becomes second nature, a constant low hum of awareness that spikes into screaming warnings when death comes close. Jessica Drew watches from a distance, ready to intervene if necessary, but Miles handles himself. She is proud, also worried. He is improving too fast, taking on threats beyond his experience level. He is going to crash. It is only a question of when. The crash comes on a Wednesday in July. Miles is swinging through Brooklyn when his spider sense explodes. Not a warning, a full alarm, danger everywhere. He changes direction, following the instinct, and arrives at a warehouse in Red Hook, the same neighborhood where his uncle took him months ago, where the spider bit him. The warehouse is surrounded by police, SWAT teams, helicopters overhead. Someone important is inside. Miles lands on a nearby rooftop and watches. His phone buzzes, a news alert. Prowler cornered in Brooklyn warehouse. Armed standoff in progress. Miles' heart stops. Prowler, his uncle. He does not think, does not plan. Miles dives off the roof and swings straight toward the warehouse. Police shout at him to stay back. He ignores them, goes invisible, slips through a broken window. Inside, the air smells like gun oil and fear. Miles moves through the shadows, spider sense guiding him past trip wires and security cameras. He hears voices, shouting. His uncle's voice, strained and desperate. Miles finds him on the third floor. Aaron is cornered. His Prowler suit is damaged, sparking at the joints. He is surrounded by Fisk's men, not police, private enforcers. They are not here to arrest him, they are here to kill him. Aaron, Miles drops his camouflage, appearing between his uncle and the guns. Aaron's eyes go wide behind his mask. Kid, what are you doing here? Saving you. Come on, we can. You are the new Spider-Man. Aaron's voice is flat, broken. Of course you are, I should have known. The enforcers open fire. Miles' spider sense screams. He moves on pure instinct, webbing guns, dodging bullets, pulling Aaron behind cover. The warehouse erupts into chaos. Bullets shred metal. Explosions rock the foundation. We have to go, Miles shouts. You do not understand, Aaron yells back. Fisk knows who I am, knows about you. If I run, he will come after our family. Then we fight. You are a kid. You do not fight the kingpin. You run and you hide and you hope he forgets about you. An explosion tears through the wall. The floor beneath them cracks. Miles grabs Aaron and jumps. They swing out through the shattered window as the building begins to collapse behind them. They land on a rooftop 6 blocks away. Aaron rips off his Prowler mask. His face is bleeding, scared, tired. Why did not you tell me? Aaron asks. Why did not you? Miles fires back. They stare at each other, uncle and nephew, both wearing masks, both keeping the same secrets. I was trying to protect you, Aaron says quietly, from this life, from becoming like me. You are not a bad person. Yeah, I am. Aaron's laugh is bitter. I steal, I hurt people. I work for a man who would kill you without blinking. I am exactly what your father ran away from. You can change. You can stop. It is too late for that. Sirens wail in the distance. The warehouse is fully ablaze now, smoke rising into the night sky. Police and firefighters converge. Someone will have seen them escape. Someone will be looking. Come with me, Miles pleads. We will figure this out together. Aaron looks at his nephew, really looks at him, sees the hope, the desperation, the goodness that Aaron lost years ago. You are a good kid, Miles. Better than this family deserves. Aaron puts his mask back on. But I cannot drag you down with me. Fisk is coming, and when he does, you need to be far away. I am not leaving you. Yes, you are. Aaron activates his suit. The claws extend. Because if you do not, we both die, and your parents lose their son trying to save their screw-up brother. Aaron jumps. His suit's propulsion carries him into the night. Miles starts to follow, but his uncle is faster, more experienced with the tech. Within seconds, Aaron disappears into the city. Miles stands alone on the rooftop. Shaking, terrified, angry, he goes home, does not sleep. Waits for his uncle to call or text. Nothing comes. 2 days later, the news breaks. Prowler found dead, apparent gang violence. Miles watches the report in his dorm room. The body was discovered in an alley in Hell's Kitchen. Multiple gunshot wounds. No witnesses. Police suspect it is connected to organized crime but have no leads. Miles knows the truth. Fisk had Aaron killed. Punishment for the failed job. A message to anyone else thinking about running. Miles does not cry, he cannot. The grief is too big, too overwhelming. It fills his chest like concrete, crushing his lungs, making it impossible to breathe. Gank tries to talk to him. Miles does not respond. He sits on his bed, staring at the wall, replaying every moment, every conversation, every missed opportunity to save his uncle. The funeral happens 3 days later. Miles attends in civilian clothes, watches his father sob, watches his mother hold Jefferson together, watches extended family offer condolences and platitudes. No one knows Aaron was the Prowler. No one knows Miles tried to save him. No one knows Miles is carrying the weight of another death he could not prevent. At the reception, Jefferson pulls Miles aside. His eyes are red, face hollow. "I should have helped him," Jeff says. "He was my brother. I knew he was in trouble. I knew, and I did nothing." "It is not your fault," Miles whispers. "He called me 2 weeks ago, asked if he could stay with us for a while, said he needed to get away from some people, and I said no. I said I could not have that element in my house, around my son." Jefferson's voice breaks. "I chose protecting you over saving him." Miles feels like he is drowning, because he did the same thing. He had powers. He could have forced Aaron to stop, could have webbed him up and dragged him to the police, could have done something other than hope. "He loved you," Miles says. "It is all he can offer." "I know." Jefferson hugs his son tight. "Promise me something. Promise me you will never get involved with people like that. Never let the world turn you into something you are not." Miles promises. Another lie to add to the pile. That night, Miles puts on his suit. He swings through the city without purpose, without destination. Just moving because staying still means thinking. And thinking means drowning. He ends up at Fisk Tower, the gleaming skyscraper in Midtown where Wilson Fisk runs his empire from the top floor. Miles stands on a building across the street and stares at the lights, at the symbol of everything that destroyed his uncle. He could do it, could break in, could find Fisk, could use his venom strike to stop the man's heart. No one would stop him. No one would mourn Fisk. But that is not what Spider-Man does. That is not what Peter Parker would do. And Miles, despite everything, is trying to be better than his worst impulses. He turns away from Fisk Tower, swings home, takes off the mask. And finally, alone in the dark, Miles Morales lets himself cry. The grief does not make him weaker, it makes him focused, precise, dangerous. Over the next 2 months, Miles systematically dismantles Fisk's street-level operations. He hits warehouses, disrupts shipments, webs up dealers and enforcers. He does not kill anyone, but he does not hold back either. Broken bones, dislocated joints. Venom strikes at levels that leave criminals unconscious for hours. The underworld starts to fear him. The new Spider-Man is not like Peter Parker. He is aggressive, ruthless. He knows exactly how much damage a human body can take and pushes right up to that line. Jessica Drew confronts him after he puts 6 of Fisk's men in the hospital. "You are losing control," she says. "I am in perfect control," Miles responds coldly. "This is not justice, this is revenge." "Maybe they are the same thing." Jessica grabs his shoulder, forces him to look at her. "If you cross that line, you do not come back. I have seen heroes become villains. It happens fast. One bad choice. One moment of letting anger guide your fist instead of your conscience. They killed my uncle. I know, and I am sorry, but making them pay will not bring him back. It will just turn you into someone Aaron would not recognize." Miles wants to argue, wants to scream that she does not understand. But looking into Jessica's eyes, he sees that she does understand. She has lost people too, carried the same rage, and somehow found a way to keep being a hero. "What do I do?" Miles asks, and his voice cracks. "You grieve, you let yourself feel it, and then you keep going, not for revenge. For the people who still need you." Miles takes her advice. He pulls back from the vendetta, focuses on protecting his neighborhood instead of destroying Fisk's. He lets the anger slowly burn down to something manageable. And then, on a random Tuesday in September, everything changes again. Miles is stopping a bodega robbery when his spider sense suddenly screams a warning unlike anything he has felt before. Not danger. Something else. Something familiar. He spins around and sees a man standing on the rooftop across the street. Brown jacket, messy hair. A posture Miles has only seen in photographs. Peter Parker. Alive. Staring at him. Miles' world tilts, because Peter Parker is dead. He went to the funeral, watched the burial. This is impossible. The man waves, tentative, friendly. Miles swings across to the rooftop, lands carefully. His heart is hammering. "You are not real," Miles says. "I get that a lot lately," the man replies. His voice is older than Miles expected, tired. I am Peter Parker, just not your Peter Parker. I am from Earth 616, different dimension. Long story. Dimensions are real. Oh yeah, whole multiverse out there, and right now it is in serious trouble. Peter steps closer. That is why I am here. We need spider people, all of them. Including you. I do not understand. You will, but first I need to know. Are you ready to save not just your world but every world? Miles looks at this impossible man. This version of the hero he has been trying to honor. And despite the insanity, despite the impossibility, Miles feels something shift inside him. Purpose, real purpose, bigger than revenge, bigger than grief. Yeah, Miles says, I am ready. Peter Parker grins. Good. Because we leave in 5 minutes, and things are about to get really weird. Miles does not know it yet, but his entire understanding of what it means to be Spider-Man is about to expand beyond anything he ever imagined. The multiverse is calling, and Miles Morales is about to answer. Before the multiverse pulls him into infinity, before the impossible becomes routine, Miles has to go home. Because no matter how many dimensions exist, no matter how many versions of reality spin out into forever, Miles still has parents who love him, a best friend who knows his secrets, a city that depends on him, and relationships that define who he is beneath the mask. His mother notices first. Rio always notices. Miles is sitting at the dinner table, physically present but mentally somewhere else. His father is talking about a case at work, something about gang violence and witness protection. Miles should be listening. He is usually good at pretending. But tonight, the exhaustion is too heavy. The weight of everything he is carrying shows on his face like bruises. Miles, Rio's voice cuts through the conversation. When was the last time you slept? I slept last night, Miles lies. You have circles under your eyes dark enough to be tattoos. And you have barely touched your food. Rio exchanges a look with Jefferson, a whole conversation happening in silence. I am fine, Mom, just school stuff. School does not make you look haunted. Rio reaches across the table and takes his hand. Her grip is firm, gentle. The hands of someone who has held dying patients and refused to let go. Baby, I know something is happening. You do not have to tell me what, but you need to know I am here. We are here. Miles looks at his mother, really looks at her. Rio Morales works 60-hour weeks healing strangers. Comes home exhausted and still makes dinner. Still asks about homework. Still loves her son with a ferocity that makes him feel safe even when the world is burning. He wants to tell her everything. About the spider. About the suit. About watching his uncle die and not being able to stop it. About the guilt that never stops gnawing at his insides. But telling her means putting her in danger. Fisk is still out there. Other villains are circling. The moment his identity becomes known, everyone he loves becomes a target. So Miles lies again. I promise I am okay, just stressed about midterms. Rio does not believe him. He can see it in her eyes, but she does not push. She squeezes his hand and lets it go. Jefferson is less patient. After dinner, he corners Miles in the hallway. You are lying to your mother, Jeff says quietly. That stops now. What is really going on? Nothing, Dad. Do not insult me. I have interrogated enough suspects to know when someone is hiding something. Jefferson's voice hardens. Are you in trouble, drugs, a girl? What? It is not like that. Then what is it like? Miles feels the anger rising. The frustration of carrying secrets no 13-year-old should have to carry. Why do you assume I am screwing up? Why can it not just be that I am tired? Because I know what tired looks like, and I know what guilty looks like. And you, son, look guilty. Jefferson's face softens slightly. I am not trying to attack you. I am trying to help. You cannot help with this. Try me. Miles almost breaks, almost tells him everything. But then he imagines his father's reaction. The disappointment, the fear. Jefferson hates Spider-Man. Finding out his son is Spider-Man would destroy him. I am handling it, Miles says. Jefferson stares at his son for a long moment. Then he nods slowly. Okay, but when you are ready to talk, I am here. And whatever it is, we will face it together. Miles nods back. The lie tastes like ashes. Later that night, Miles sits in his dorm room with Gank. His roommate is the only person who knows the full truth. The only one Miles does not have to perform for. You ever think about quitting? Miles asks. Gank looks up from his laptop. Quitting what school? Spider-Man. The question hangs in the air. Gank closes his computer and gives Miles his full attention. Honestly, yeah, I think about it every time you come back bleeding. Every time you almost die and I have to patch you up with stuff I learned from YouTube. Gank's voice is careful. But I also know you will not quit, because that is not who you are. Maybe it should be. Maybe I am not cut out for this. You stopped a building from collapsing last week. Saved 40 people. I also could not save my uncle. Aaron made his choices, you made yours. You cannot save everyone, Miles, no one can. Miles knows Gank is right, intellectually. But the guilt does not care about logic. I am tired, Miles admits. All the time. I am tired of lying, tired of pretending, tired of carrying all this weight and having no one to share it with except you. You have Jessica, and that Peter Parker from another dimension who showed up. That is different. They are mentors, teachers, not friends. What about the people at school you used to hang out with? I cannot. Miles cuts him off. Every time I try to be normal, to just be a teenager, something happens. A crime, a villain, someone needs help, and I have to choose between being Miles and being Spider-Man. And Spider-Man always wins. Gank is quiet for a moment. Then he says something that cuts right to the core. Maybe the problem is you think they are different people, Miles and Spider-Man, but they are not. You are one person trying to do an impossible job. And yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it is lonely, but you are also changing lives, making a difference. How many people can say that? Is it worth it? If I lose everything else? I do not know. That is a question only you can answer. Miles does not have an answer. Not yet. The loneliness gets worse before it gets better. At school, Miles drifts away from the friend groups he used to belong to. He misses parties because he is stopping robberies. He falls asleep in class because he was up until 4 a.m. fighting the shocker. His grades slip from straight A's to barely passing. His teachers notice. One of them, Mr. Davis, keeps him after class. Miles, you are one of the smartest students I have ever taught, but your work this semester has been inconsistent at best. Mr. Davis looks genuinely concerned. Is everything all right at home? Everything is fine. Because if you need help, if there is something going on, the school has resources. Counselors, programs. Miles wants to laugh. What counselor is equipped to handle I fight supervillains and watch people die? I appreciate it, really. I will do better. He does not do better. He just gets better at hiding how much he is struggling. Then there is Barbara Rodriguez. Miles met her in his freshman year at Visions. She is smart, funny, beautiful in a way that makes Miles forget how to form sentences. They started dating 2 months ago, or they tried to, because every date ends the same way. They are at a movie when Miles' spider sense goes off. He makes an excuse. Bathroom emergency. Barbara waits. Miles does not come back for 40 minutes because he had to stop a car chase in Queens. They are having dinner when Miles sees a news alert. Hostage situation 6 blocks away. He fakes a phone call from his mom. Family emergency. Barbara's face falls. She has heard this excuse before. On their 3rd canceled date, Barbara finally confronts him. "Do you even want to be with me?" she asks. They are standing outside a coffee shop in Brooklyn. It is raining. Appropriate pathetic fallacy for a breakup Miles sees coming. Of course I do. Then where do you go? Every single time we are together, you disappear. And do not tell me it is family stuff because I called your mom once. She had no idea what I was talking about. Miles' stomach drops. You called my mom. I was worried about you. I thought something was seriously wrong. Barbara's eyes are shining with tears or rain or both. But you are fine. You are just not interested, so why waste my time? It is complicated. That is not an answer. I cannot explain. Cannot or will not. Miles does not respond, because the truth is both. Barbara wipes her eyes. I really liked you, Miles. I thought we had something, but I cannot date someone who is never actually here, even when you are standing right in front of me. She walks away. Miles does not follow because she is right. He cannot give her what she deserves, cannot give anyone a real relationship while half his life is a secret. The isolation becomes crushing. Miles is surrounded by people all day at school but feels utterly alone. The only person who truly knows him is Gank, and even Gank cannot fully understand what it feels like to carry the weight of a city on your shoulders. Then the multiverse happens. Peter Parker from Earth 616 was not lying. Within days, Miles is pulled into a conflict spanning dimensions. He meets other Spider people. Spider-Gwen from Earth 65. Spider-Man Noir from a black and white world of shadows and crime. Penny Parker and her psychically linked robot. Spider-Ham, a literal cartoon pig with spider powers. At first, it is overwhelming, terrifying. Miles is the newest spider person, the least experienced. He does not belong with legends, but then he meets Gwen Stacy. Spider-Gwen is everything Miles is not. Confident, experienced, comfortable in her identity. She has been Spider-Woman for 3 years in her dimension. She has fought her Green Goblin, lost her best friend, carried her own crushing guilt, and she understands, really understands, what it feels like to put on the mask, to live 2 lives, to lose people because you were not fast enough or strong enough or smart enough. They bond instantly. Between battles, between dimension jumps, Miles and Gwen talk about responsibility, about loss, about whether any of this is worth it. Do you ever want to quit? Miles asks during a quiet moment. They are sitting on a rooftop in some dimension where the sky is purple and the buildings are made of glass. Every single day, Gwen admits, and then someone needs help and I remember why I started. Does it get easier? No, you just get stronger. There is something between them. Miles feels it, a connection deeper than friendship. She is the first person his age who truly gets it, who lives the same impossible double life, who carries the same weight. But Gwen is from another dimension, and when the crisis ends, when the multiverse stabilizes, she has to go home. They stand at the portal that will take her back to Earth 65. Miles does not want her to leave, does not want to lose the one person who made him feel less alone. Will I see you again? Miles asks. Gwen smiles, sad, hopeful. In the multiverse, probably, nothing stays separate forever. That is not a real answer. I know. She reaches out and squeezes his hand. But it is the only one I have. Take care of yourself, Miles Morales. You are going to be amazing. Then she is gone, and Miles is standing alone in his dimension, in his Brooklyn, with the same responsibilities and the same loneliness, but something has changed. The multiverse showed him he is not unique. Dozens of spider people exist, hundreds maybe, all carrying the same burden, all making the same sacrifices. He is not alone, not really, even if it feels that way. Miles returns to his normal life, to school and family dinners and lying to his parents. But he also starts trying harder, trying to maintain connections. He reconciles with some friends at school, admits he has been distant, does not explain why but makes an effort to show up. He talks to his father more, not about Spider-Man, but about life, about Aaron, about grief and guilt and trying to be better than your worst moments. Jefferson opens up in ways he never has before, shares stories about his own mistakes, his own journey from criminal to cop. The two of them start to rebuild trust, even with secrets still between them. And Miles starts to accept that his relationships will never be normal, but they can still be real, still matter. Even if he cannot give people all of himself, he can give them the parts that are honest. His mother remains his anchor. Rio does not know her son is Spider-Man, but she knows he is struggling, and she loves him anyway, completely, without conditions. One night, Miles finds her in the kitchen after a particularly brutal patrol. She is making tea, humming softly. Cannot sleep, she asks when she sees him. Not really. Rio pours 2 cups, Hands one to Miles, they sit together in comfortable silence. "You are growing up so fast," Rio says eventually. "Sometimes I look at you and do not recognize the little boy who used to climb into my bed during thunderstorms. I am still that kid, just taller. No, you are someone new. Someone I am incredibly proud of, even if I do not fully understand who you are becoming." Miles feels tears prick his eyes. "I am trying to be good, Mom. I am really trying." "I know, baby, and you are." Rio takes his hand. "Whatever you are facing, whatever weight you are carrying, you do not have to carry it alone. Your father and I, we are here, always." Miles nods, cannot speak without his voice breaking. That night, sitting in the kitchen with his mother, Miles understands something fundamental. His relationships are not a weakness. They are not a distraction from being Spider-Man. They are the reason Spider-Man exists. He does not fight for abstract ideas. He fights for his mother's smile, for his father's approval he still craves, for Gank's loyalty, for the hope that maybe someday he will see Gwen again. The mask is not who he is. Miles Morales is who he is. And Spider-Man is just the tool he uses to protect the people who make Miles Morales matter. It is a small revelation, but it changes everything. Spring arrives in Brooklyn like a promise. The trees along Miles Street bloom with white flowers. The air smells like rain and possibility. His mother plants tulips in the small garden behind their apartment building, dirt under her fingernails, humming songs from her childhood in Puerto Rico. Miles watches her from the kitchen window. She looks happy, peaceful. For a moment he lets himself believe everything might actually be okay. He should know better by now. Miles is 16, 2 years into being Spider-Man. 2 years of protecting Brooklyn, fighting villains, keeping secrets. The rhythm has become almost routine. School during the day, patrol at night. Homework squeezed into the gaps between crisis and catastrophe. His grades have improved. His relationship with his father is stronger. He and Gank are planning to apply to the same colleges. Life, despite everything, feels manageable. The first sign something is wrong comes on a Tuesday. Miles is walking home from visions when his spider sense tingles. Not a scream of danger, a whisper, something off. He scans the street and sees nothing unusual. People going about their lives. Bodega owners stocking shelves. Kids playing basketball in the park, but the feeling persists. A low-frequency dread humming beneath his skin. He texts his mom. "Where are you?" The reply comes instantly. "Hospital, double shift. Why, baby?" "No reason." Love you more." Miles pockets his phone, tells himself he is being paranoid. The spider sense is not infallible. Sometimes it triggers on nothing. A bad feeling. Anxiety manifesting as false positives. But that night he patrols Brooklyn with extra attention. Swings past his parents' building 3 times. Everything is quiet. Normal. His mother gets home at midnight. He watches from a rooftop as the lights in their apartment turn on. Watches her shadow move across the curtains. She is safe. He breathes easier. The second sign comes 2 days later. Miles is in chemistry class when every phone in the room buzzes simultaneously. News alert. His teacher stops mid-sentence. Students pull out devices. A collective gasp ripples through the classroom. Oscorp breach. Experimental subject escaped. Miles' blood runs cold. He reads the article, an experiment called Venom. A symbiotic organism bonded to a human host. Containment failure during transport. The host, a man named Brian Cornell, last seen in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, his neighborhood. Miles raises his hand. "Can I use the bathroom?" He does not wait for permission, grabs his bag and runs. 30 seconds later, Spider-Man is swinging across the East River toward Brooklyn. His phone rings. Jessica Drew. "You see the news?" she asks. "On my way there now." "This is not a street-level threat, Miles. Venom is dangerous. I am talking symbiote that can match your strength, bypass your spider sense, and has 0 moral compass." "What do you want me to do? Let it rampage through my neighborhood?" Jessica sighs. "No, but wait for backup. I am 20 minutes out. The ultimates are mobilizing." 20 minutes is too long. Miles hangs up, swings faster. He finds the first bodies in Red Hook. 3 gang members, not dead, worse, drained. Their skin pale and sunken like something sucked the life out of them. Miles checks for pulses, barely there. He calls 911 and keeps moving. The trail of destruction leads toward his neighborhood. Cars flipped, streetlights torn from the ground, store windows shattered. Miles follows it, spider sense getting louder with each block. Then he sees it. Venom is massive, 8 feet tall. Black symbiote rippling over a muscular frame like living oil. White spider symbol stretched across its chest. Eyes like empty voids. Teeth like daggers in a mouth too wide to be human. And it is standing in the middle of the street 1 block from Miles' apartment building. Finally, Venom's voice is layered. Multiple tones speaking at once. "We have been waiting for you, Spider." Miles lands on a car between them. "Leave, now. This is your only warning." Venom laughs. The sound makes Miles' bones vibrate. "We do not take warnings from children, we take what we want. And what we want is to see what a spider tastes like." It moves, impossibly fast. Miles' spider sense screams, but Venom is already on him. A massive fist crashes into Miles' ribs. The impact launches him through a storefront window. Glass explodes. Miles rolls, gasping, ribs screaming. Venom follows. Smashes through the wall like it is paper. Miles goes invisible. Venom pauses, head tilting, sniffing the air. "Clever trick, but we do not need to see you to find you." A black tendril shoots out, wraps around Miles' ankle, slams him into the ground. The camouflage fails. Venom lifts Miles by the leg and throws him across the street. He crashes into a parked van. Metal crumples, alarms wail. Miles staggers to his feet, blood in his mouth. Vision blurring. He shoots webbing. Venom tears through it like tissue paper. Miles tries the Venom strike, touches Venom's chest and releases maximum voltage. The symbiote convulses, screams. Brian Cornell's human face appears for a second beneath the black mass, contorted in agony. Then the symbiote floods back over him, and Venom backhands Miles into a fire hydrant. Water explodes into the air. Miles lies in the spray, ears ringing, trying to breathe. "You are weak," Venom stalks closer. "The old Spider-Man would have been a challenge, you are just prey." Miles forces himself up. "I am not done." "Yes, you are." Venom lunges. Miles dodges, barely. The fight becomes a brutal dance. Miles uses speed and agility, hit and run tactics. Venom strike whenever he can land a touch, but Venom is stronger, faster than something that size should be. And it is learning Miles' patterns. A tendril catches Miles mid-swing, yanks him down. Venom pins him to the pavement, massive hand around his throat. "We could bond with you," Venom whispers. "Imagine the power, your abilities and ours. We could be perfect together." "Pass," Miles chokes out. Venom squeezes. Miles' vision darkens. He is going to die right here, 1 block from his home. Then he hears her voice. "Let him go." Rio Morales is standing at the end of the block. She must have heard the fight. Come to investigate. Now she is frozen, staring at the monster choking her son. Except she does not know it is her son. She just sees Spider-Man dying. "Mom, run!" The words tear from Miles' throat. Rio's eyes go wide. The math clicks instantly. The voice. The desperation. Her son, her baby, under the mask. "Miles," her voice breaks. Venom's head snaps toward her. "Mother, even better." It releases Miles, turns toward Rio. "No," Miles screams. Desperation floods his system. Adrenaline beyond anything he has ever felt. His Venom strike activates automatically. Not from his hands, from his entire body. Bioelectricity erupts in a sphere of yellow lightning. The blast catches Venom mid-stride. The symbiote shrieks. Its form destabilizes. Brian Cornell stumbles, the black mass peeling away from his skin. For 3 seconds the man underneath is visible, terrified, confused. Then the symbiote reassembles, angrier, hungrier, and it goes for Rio. Miles throws himself between them. Venom's clawed hand pierces his shoulder. Pain whites out his vision, but he holds his ground. wraps his arms around the monster and channels every ounce of bioelectricity he has left. The venom strike burns through him. Through venom, the symbiote screams, writhes, tries to pull away, but Miles holds on, refuses to let go. "Run!" Miles shouts at his mother. Rio does not run. She stands there, tears streaming down her face, watching her son sacrifice himself. The electricity peaks. Venom's form explodes off Brian Cornell. The symbiote disperses into dozens of pieces that scatter across the street. Brian collapses, unconscious but alive. Miles falls to his knees, shoulder bleeding, body depleted, every muscle screaming. And now comes the moment that changed everything, but before we reach that turning point, we need to understand why it had to happen. Miles became Spider-Man to honor Peter Parker, to prove he deserved the powers, to save people the way he could not save his uncle. Every choice, every sacrifice was about being worthy of the mask, but worthiness has a price. And that price is always paid by the people you love most. Rio runs to Miles, drops to her knees beside him. "Baby, let me see, let me help." "You need to go," Miles gasps. "Venom is not dead, just scattered. It will come back. I am not leaving you." "Mom, please." Rio pulls off Miles' mask, sees his face, her son's face. 16 years old and bleeding on the street in a costume she never knew existed. "How long?" she whispers. 2 years. 2 years you have been doing this, risking your life, and you never told me." "I could not, I was trying to protect you." Rio laughs, bitter, broken. "Protect me." "Miles, do you have any idea what it does to a mother to find out her child has been fighting monsters while she slept?" Sirens wail in the distance. The Ultimates are coming. Jessica Drew. Backup. But they are still minutes away. The symbiote pieces begin to move, sliding across pavement toward each other, reforming. "We have to go." Miles tries to stand. His legs give out. The venom strike drained him completely. Rio supports his weight. "Where?" "Anywhere but here." They stumble into an alley. Miles activates his camouflage. It flickers, unstable, but holds enough to hide them in the shadows. They watch as Venom fully reforms. The creature roars, searches for them. Then the Ultimates arrive. Captain America, Iron Man, Jessica Drew. They engage Venom in coordinated assault. Miles and Rio slip away during the chaos. They make it 3 blocks before Miles collapses completely. Rio drags him into an abandoned building, lays him down, checks his wounds. The shoulder is bad, deep puncture, bleeding steadily. Rio tears strips from her shirt and creates a makeshift bandage. Her hands move with practiced efficiency. Years of emergency room training taking over. "You need a hospital," Rio says. "Cannot, they will ask questions." "I do not care about questions, you are hurt. The healing, it is faster than normal. I will be okay." Rio sits back, looks at her son, really looks at him, the bruises, the scars she never noticed before because he always wore long sleeves, the exhaustion carved into his face. "How many times have you almost died?" she asks quietly. "I do not keep count." "Miles." "A lot, Mom, a lot." Rio covers her face with her hands, her shoulders shake. Miles reaches out, touches her arm. "I am sorry," he whispers. "I am so sorry." "For what? For being a hero, for saving people?" Rio lowers her hands. Her eyes are red but clear. "I am not angry you are Spider-Man. I am angry you thought you had to do it alone. I did not want you to worry. I am your mother. Worrying is what I do. At least now I know why." They sit in silence. Outside, the sounds of battle continue. Venom versus the Ultimates. Explosions, screaming. "Does your father know?" Rio asks. "No, and he cannot, ever. He hates Spider-Man. He hates the idea of vigilantes, but this is you, our son. He will understand." "You do not know that." Rio takes Miles' hand. "I know your father loves you more than he hates anything. Give him a chance." Before Miles can respond, the building shakes. Something massive impacts the street outside. Miles' spider sense explodes. He tries to stand. Rio pushes him back down. "You can barely move." "Does not matter. Venom is coming." The wall explodes inward. Venom stands in the opening. Battered from fighting the Ultimates but still standing, still hunting. "Found you," it growls. Miles puts himself between Venom and his mother. No powers left, no strength. Just a 16-year-old boy and the certainty he will not let this thing touch her. Venom advances, touching the little spider protecting his nest. You want me? Fine, take me, let her go. We will take you both. Venom lunges. Miles closes his eyes, waits for the impact. It never comes. A car crashes through the wall and hits Venom mid-leap. The creature tumbles, symbiote rippling. The car door opens. Jefferson Davis steps out, still in his police uniform. Gun drawn. Get away from my family, Jeff says. Dad, Miles' voice cracks. Jefferson does not look at him, keeps his eyes and weapon trained on Venom. Rio, get Miles out of here. Jeff, you do not understand what this is. I understand it is hurting our son. That is all I need to know. Venom rises, looks at Jefferson at the gun and laughs. Bullets will not save you. Jefferson fires. The rounds hit Venom's center mass. The creature does not even flinch. It moves toward Jeff with terrifying patience. Last chance, Venom says. Run. I do not run, Jefferson responds. Venom's tendril shoots out, wraps around Jeff's throat, lifts him off the ground. Jefferson struggles, face going red, gun clattering to the floor. Miles finds strength he did not know he had left, launches himself at Venom. No plan, no strategy, just desperation. He grabs the tendril around his father's throat and channels everything, every last electron of bioelectricity in his body. The Venom strike fires, weaker than before, but enough. The tendril releases. Jefferson drops, gasping. The symbiote recoils, smoking, and then Miles sees it. The moment that will haunt him forever. Venom, enraged and wounded, lashes out wildly. A massive tendril swings in a wide arc. Miles dives to intercept. Too slow, too drained. The tendril catches Rio Morales across the chest. The impact lifts her off her feet and throws her through the wall into the street beyond. Time stops. Miles cannot breathe, cannot think, just runs through the hole in the wall, into the street. His mother is lying on the pavement, not moving. Mom, Miles drops beside her. Mom, wake up, please wake up. Rio's eyes flutter open. Blood trickles from the corner of her mouth. Miles, I am here, I am right here. You are going to be okay. My beautiful boy. Rio's hand trembles as she touches his face. I am so proud of you. Do not talk like that. Help is coming. The ultimates are here. They will save you. You already saved me. Saved so many people. Rio coughs. More blood. Keep saving them, baby. Promise me. I promise. Just stay awake. Rio's hand drops. Her eyes lose focus. Mom. Miles shakes her. No. Wake up, please wake up. Jefferson is there suddenly, pulling Miles back, checking Rio's pulse. His hands are shaking, his face is destroyed. She is gone, Jeff whispers. No, she is not. She is just hurt. We can save her. Miles tries to push past his father to get back to his mother. I can save her. Jefferson holds him, holds his son as the truth crashes down, as Miles screams, as the world shatters into pieces too small to ever put back together. Rio Morales dies in the street, 1 block from her home, because her son was Spider-Man, because he tried to protect her, because heroism always demands a price. And Miles pays it with the person he loved most in the world. The funeral happens 3 days later. Hundreds of people attend. Rio touched so many lives, saved so many patients. The church overflows with mourners. Miles sits in the front row, numb, his father beside him equally hollow. Neither of them has cried since that night. The grief is too big, too overwhelming. Tears feel insufficient. People speak, share stories about Rio's kindness, her compassion, her strength. Miles does not hear any of it. He is somewhere else, trapped in the moment his mother died, replaying it, searching for the choice that could have changed it. If he had been faster, stronger, if he had not become Spider-Man in the first place, if he had told her the truth earlier. If. The casket is lowered. Miles watches the earth swallow his mother, watches the only person who knew him completely disappear into the ground. That night he burns his Spider-Man costume. Gank finds him on the roof of Vision's academy. The suit is in a metal trash can, flames consuming the red and black fabric. Miles watches it burn with empty eyes. "What are you doing?" Gank asks, finishing it. "Miles, she died because of me, because I put on this mask and thought I could save everyone, but I could not even save her. It was not your fault. Venom killed her. I brought Venom to that street. I fought him 1 block from my home. I put her in danger." Miles' voice cracks. "I killed her, Gank." "That is not true." "Then why is she dead?" Gank has no answer. Miles watches the last of the suit turn to ash. The mask curls and melts. The red spider symbol blackens and disappears. "I am done," Miles says. "No more Spider-Man, no more saving people, I am done." He walks away, leaves the ashes smoldering, leaves Gank standing alone on the roof. For 2 months, Miles Morales does not leave his room unless forced. He stops going to class, stops answering calls, stops existing as anything other than a body taking up space. His father tries to reach him, tries to talk, but Jefferson is drowning in his own grief. He throws himself into work, 16-hour shifts, anything to avoid the empty apartment that still smells like Rio's perfume. Neither of them knows how to be a family without her. The city notices Spider-Man's absence. Crime rates spike. Villains operate unchecked. The Ultimates handle the major threats, but street-level crime explodes. People die. People who would have been saved if Spider-Man was still patrolling. Miles knows, watches the news, sees the casualties, feels the weight of every death adding to the pile of guilt crushing his chest. But he does not put the suit back on. Cannot. The thought of swinging through Brooklyn, past the street where his mother died, makes him want to vomit. Gank tries to help. Brings food Miles does not eat. Homework Miles does not do. Tries to talk. Miles stares at the wall and says nothing. Jessica Drew shows up one night, lets herself into his dorm room through the window. "You look like hell," she says. "Go away." "No." Jessica sits on Gank's bed. "We need to talk. There is nothing to talk about. Your mother died, you are grieving, I get it, but Brooklyn needs Spider-Man. Brooklyn can find someone else. There is no one else. Just you. Then Brooklyn is out of luck." Miles finally looks at her. His eyes are hollow. "I am not doing this anymore. I am not watching anyone else die because I tried to be a hero." Jessica is quiet for a moment. Then she says, "You know what your mother's last words to you were? Do not. Keep saving them, promise me. That was her final request, and you are spitting on it. She would not have wanted me to keep doing this if she knew it would get her killed. She did know. She found out you were Spider-Man and she told you to keep being Spider-Man, even knowing the risks, even knowing it might cost her everything." Jessica stands. "Your mother died proud of you. Do not make her sacrifice meaningless by giving up." She leaves through the window. Miles sits in the silence. His father comes home drunk that night. Jefferson never drinks, but tonight he is stumbling, eyes red, reeking of whiskey. "She is gone," Jeff slurs, stands in Miles' doorway. "She is gone, and I do not know how to do this without her." Miles gets up, helps his father to bed, sits with him. "I failed her," Jefferson whispers. "I should have protected her. Should have been there. It was not your fault." "Then whose fault was it?" "Spider-Man's." Jeff laughs bitterly. "I spent years hating that kid, and now my wife is dead because he brought a monster to our street." Miles feels the words like knives. His father blames Spider-Man, blames him, and Miles cannot even defend himself without revealing the truth. "Get some sleep, Dad." Jefferson passes out. Miles covers him with a blanket and goes back to his room. He lies in bed and stares at the ceiling. His mother's voice echoes in his head. "Keep saving them. Promise me." He promised. Made that vow as she died in his arms, and he is breaking it, has been breaking it for 2 months. Miles gets out of bed, opens his closet. At the bottom, buried under clothes, is the bag Gank brought him a week after the funeral. A new suit, black and red, improved design, better armor. Miles never opened it, could not bring himself to look at it. Now he pulls it out, unzips the bag. The suit is perfect. Everything his old costume was not: professional, durable, ready. He puts it on, stands in front of the mirror. Spider-Man stares back. Miles does not recognize himself. The person in the mirror looks older, haunted, carrying weight that bent him but did not break him. He opens the window. Cool night air fills the room. Brooklyn spreads out below, his city, his responsibility. Miles jumps. The swing is rusty, uncoordinated. He crashes into a building, scrapes his shoulder. But he keeps going, keeps moving. And for the first time in 2 months, Miles Morales allows himself to feel something other than grief. Purpose. The city does not forgive absence. Brooklyn learned to survive without Spider-Man, and when Miles returns, the streets do not welcome him with open arms. They test him, push him, demand proof he deserves to wear the mask again. The first night back is a disaster. Miles stops a mugging in Red Hook. 3 men beating a kid for his phone should be simple, routine, but Miles is slow. His body forgot the rhythm. His spider sense feels muted, delayed. One of the muggers gets a knife into Miles' side before he can react. The venom strike saves him, drops all 3 men unconscious. But Miles collapses in the alley afterward, clutching the bleeding wound, breathing hard. 2 months of inactivity destroyed his conditioning. His timing is off. His confidence shattered. He makes it home, stitches himself up in the bathroom at 3 a.m., bites down on a leather belt to keep from screaming. The pain is good, clarifying, proof he is still alive even when everything inside feels dead. Gank finds him the next morning, sees the bloody towels in the trash. "You went out," Gank says. "Yeah, how bad?" "Bad enough." Miles pulls on a shirt to hide the bandage. "But I will get better." "Will you?" It is a genuine question, not rhetorical. Gank is asking if Miles is capable of being Spider-Man again or if grief broke something essential. "I do not know," Miles admits, "but I have to try." The trying is brutal. Miles forces himself into a training regimen that would destroy most people. Every morning before school, he runs 10 miles. Practices web swinging until his shoulders scream. Works through combat drills Jessica Drew taught him. Pushes his body past exhaustion and then demands more. At night, he patrols. Not the whole city, just Brooklyn, his neighborhood. The streets where his mother walked, where she died. Every patrol is exposure therapy, confronting the trauma instead of running from it. He stops robberies, prevents assaults, pulls people from car accidents. Small victories, nothing major. But each one matters. Each one is proof he can still function, still save lives despite the weight. But the losses hit different now. 2 weeks into his return, Miles arrives at a house fire seconds too late. A little girl, maybe 7, did not make it out. The firefighters recover her body while Miles stands on a rooftop watching, unable to move, unable to breathe. He failed. Again. Someone died because he was not fast enough. Miles goes home and vomits until nothing is left, lies on the bathroom floor and lets the failure sink into his bones. His father finds him there an hour later. Jefferson has been different since Rio's death. Quieter, more withdrawn. He works constantly, sleeps at the precinct some nights, anything to avoid the apartment that reminds him of what he lost. But tonight Jeff comes home, sees his son broken on the bathroom tile. "Miles." Jefferson kneels beside him. "What happened?" "A kid died in a fire. I could not save her." Jefferson is silent for a long moment. Then he says something unexpected. "You cannot save everyone." That is what everyone keeps saying. Because it is true, I am a cop. I respond to emergencies every day. And sometimes, despite everything I do, people die. It destroys me every single time, but I keep showing up. Because the alternative is letting everyone die. Miles looks at his father, really looks. Sees the exhaustion, the pain, the same grief Miles is carrying reflected in Jefferson's eyes. "How do you live with it?" Miles asks. "The knowing you could have done more." "I do not. I just wake up the next day and try again." Jefferson helps Miles sit up. "Your mother used to tell me something. She said you measure a life not by the moments you fail, but by the moments you choose to keep trying after failure." She was right about everything. She was. Jefferson's voice breaks. "And she would tell you the same thing. Get up, try again, save who you can." It is the closest Jefferson has come to acknowledging that Miles might be connected to Spider-Man. He does not know. Not for certain, but some part of him suspects, sees the timing, the injuries, the guilt, and he loves his son anyway. That conversation becomes a turning point. Miles stops expecting perfection, stops measuring himself against an impossible standard. He saves who he can, mourns who he cannot, and keeps moving forward. The physical training pays off. Within a month, Miles is better than he was before his mother died. Faster, stronger, the grief became fuel. Every punch carries the weight of his loss. Every swing is powered by the promise he made. His venom strike evolves. He learns to control the output, can deliver a light shock that stuns without causing damage, or unleash a full blast that can short-circuit machinery and drop enhanced humans. The bioelectricity becomes an extension of his will. The camouflage transforms from a parlor trick into a tactical advantage. Miles can hold invisibility for hours now, can phase it on and off mid-combat, appear, strike, vanish. Enemies start to fear him specifically because they never know where he is. But the real evolution is psychological. Miles stops fighting like Peter Parker, stops trying to honor a legacy by imitation. He develops his own style, aggressive, unpredictable, using his unique powers in combinations Peter never could. He is not the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He is something darker, more focused. He does not quip during fights, does not try to lighten the mood. He shows up, stops the threat, disappears. The criminals notice, start calling him something new. The Brooklyn Spider, the Ghost. They whisper about him in cells and safe houses, about the Spider-Man who appears from nowhere and hits like lightning. Jessica Drew watches his development with mixed feelings, pride and concern. Miles is becoming formidable, but he is also becoming harder. The lightness that defined young heroes is gone, replaced by grim determination. "You are scaring people," Jessica tells him one night after a particularly brutal takedown. Good fear prevents crime. Fear also prevents trust. People need to believe heroes care about them. "I care, that is why I am here." Then show it. The mask is not just for hiding, it is for inspiring. Miles considers this, realizes she is right. He has been so focused on efficiency that he forgot the human element, forgot that Spider-Man is supposed to represent hope, not just force. He starts making changes, small ones. When he saves someone, he stays long enough to make sure they are okay, asks if they need anything, calls ambulances, waits with victims until help arrives. It feels performative at first, like a role he is playing, but gradually it becomes real. The people he saves remind him why he does this, their gratitude, their relief, the way a mother clutches her child and sobs "thank you" over and over. Those moments start to matter again. 3 months into his return, the Ultimates reach out. Captain America personally. He wants Miles on the team, full membership, training, resources, a chance to operate on a bigger stage. Miles meets with Cap in a coffee shop in Queens, both in civilian clothes. Steve Rogers in a baseball cap, Miles in a hoodie. "We could use you," Steve says. "You have proven yourself repeatedly, and the team needs young blood." "I appreciate the offer, but I am not ready for that level." "I disagree. I have watched your development, read the reports. You are operating at a level most heroes never reach." "I am barely holding it together." Steve smiles, sad, understanding. "That is what makes you perfect for the job. The best heroes are the ones who know how fragile everything is, who fight anyway." "I need more time." "Take it, but when you are ready, we are here." They shake hands. Miles leaves feeling something he has not felt in months, respected, valued, like maybe he is becoming someone his mother would be proud of. Speaking of which, Aunt May reaches out. She calls Miles directly. He does not know how she got his number, but when he sees the name on his phone, his stomach drops. "Hello, Miles, it is May Parker. Do you have a minute?" They meet at the memorial statue of Peter, late afternoon. The park is quiet. May is older than Miles remembers. Grief aged her, but her eyes are still sharp, still kind. "Thank you for coming," May says. "Of course. I wanted to talk to you about what you are doing." Miles tenses. "What do you mean?" "I am not blind, dear. I have seen the new Spider-Man, watched how he moves, how he fights. You have your own style, but I also see Peter in you, the same determination, the same willingness to sacrifice. I am trying to honor what he built. You are, but you are also building something new, something uniquely yours." May takes his hand. "I wanted you to know that Peter would be proud, not because you are copying him, but because you are being yourself." Miles feels tears burning. "I miss her, my mom, every day." "I know, I miss Peter every day. The grief does not go away, it just becomes part of who you are, part of your strength." They stand together in silence. Two people bonded by loss and heroism, by the understanding that some burdens can only be carried by those who have worn the mask. May hugs him before she leaves. Whispers, "Take care of yourself, Spider-Man. The world needs you." Miles stands by Peter's statue long after she is gone, looks up at the bronze face frozen in heroic action. "I am trying," Miles says to the statue, to Peter, to himself. "I am really trying." That night, Miles faces his biggest challenge since returning. The Kingpin himself. Wilson Fisk has been consolidating power during Miles' absence, taking over territories, eliminating rivals, building an empire. And now he is ready to send a message. Fisk holds a public event, a charity gala at his tower. Politicians and police commissioners attend. Legitimate business covering criminal enterprise. The optics are perfect. Miles crashes the party. He swings through the window of the ballroom. Invisible, security does not see him. Moves through the crowd like a ghost. Finds Fisk on the balcony. Alone, smoking a cigar. Miles drops the camouflage. Appears behind Fisk. "We need to talk." Fisk does not turn around, does not flinch. "Spider-Man, I was wondering when you would visit. You killed my uncle. I eliminated an asset who became a liability." "Business, business." Miles' hands crackle with bioelectricity. "My uncle is dead, my mother is dead because of the world you built. No, they are dead because you decided to play hero." Fisk finally turns. He is massive, towering. But Miles does not back down. "Every person you love is a target, every relationship is a weakness. That is the price of the mask. Then I will pay it, but so will you." "Threatening me? Bold, stupid, but bold." Fisk's smile is cold. "I have lawyers, politicians, judges. You lay one finger on me and you prove every person who calls vigilantes criminals right." Miles knows he is right. Knows that attacking Fisk here now would be exactly the wrong move. Would make Spider-Man the villain. So instead, Miles steps closer. Lets Fisk see the rage in his eyes. "I am not going to kill you. I am going to dismantle everything you built. Every operation, every deal, every dirty cop on your payroll. I am going to tear your empire down brick by brick. And when you have nothing left, when you are just a fat man in an empty building, then I will come back. And we will finish this conversation." Fisk studies him, sees the promise is real. "You are different than the last Spider-Man." "Yeah, I am angrier." Miles goes invisible, disappears into the crowd, leaves Fisk standing alone on the balcony. The war begins that night. Miles goes after Fisk's operations with systematic precision. He hits shipments, disrupts deals, feeds evidence to honest cops, works with Jessica Drew and the Ultimates to target key infrastructure. It takes months, long, brutal months, but slowly the empire cracks. Fisk's allies abandon him, his resources dry up. The man who seemed untouchable becomes vulnerable. Miles never kills anyone, never crosses that line. But he makes it clear. Brooklyn is not for sale, not anymore. By the end of the year, Fisk is arrested. Real charges, real evidence. Miles watches the news coverage from a rooftop. Watches the man who destroyed so many lives finally face consequences. It does not bring his mother back, does not erase the pain, but it matters. Proof that good can win. That persistence pays off. Gank finds Miles that night. "You did it," Gank says. "You actually took down the Kingpin. We did it, could not have done it without you." So what now? Miles thinks about that, about the future. about what comes after revenge and grief. Now I keep going. Keep being Spider-Man, not because I have to, because I choose to. Your mom would be proud. Yeah, I think she would be. They sit together on the roof, best friends, brothers, watching the city lights spread out below like stars fallen to earth. Miles Morales has been broken, has lost everything that mattered, has stared into the abyss of grief and despair. But he climbed out, rebuilt himself, became something stronger than before. He is not the Spider-Man who started this journey, not the scared kid who got bit by a radioactive spider. He is the Spider-Man who survived, who chose to keep fighting even when everything in him screamed to give up. And that makes all the difference. 2 years after his mother's death, Miles Morales stands on a rooftop in Brooklyn and watches the sunrise paint the city gold. He is 18 now, graduating from Vision's Academy in 3 months. College acceptance letters sit on his desk. MIT, Columbia, Caltech, full scholarships to all of them. The faculty has no idea how a student who barely passed junior year suddenly became valedictorian. Miles knows. Grief either destroys you or sharpens you into something harder than diamond. He chose sharpening. The suit has changed again. No longer the rough prototype or even the improved version Gank made. This is professional grade, designed with Tony Stark's input after Miles officially joined the Ultimates. Black base with red webbing that glows faintly in darkness, built-in web shooters, armor plating that can stop small arms fire, heads-up display in the lenses. But the real upgrades are not technological, they are internal. Miles has mastered his powers in ways that would make Peter Parker jealous. The Venom strike now has variable settings. Stun, incapacitate, disable electronics. He can channel it through his webbing, electrifying anything he touches. The camouflage is flawless. He can disappear completely, no shimmer or distortion. Hold it for hours without strain. But more than power, Miles has developed something rare among heroes. Wisdom. The understanding that strength without purpose is just violence. That the mask is not about him. Never was. His phone buzzes, text from his father. Breakfast at the usual place. Miles smiles, types back. Be there in 20. He swings across Brooklyn. Early morning commuters wave. Some take photos. Spider-Man is no longer a controversial figure in this neighborhood. He is family. The protector who shows up when the city is burning and stays until the flames die. The diner is in Bed-Stuy. Jefferson is already in a booth when Miles arrives. His father looks older, gray in his beard, lines around his eyes. But he is smiling, something that was rare for a long time after Rio died. Morning, son. Morning, Dad, they order. Pancakes for Miles, eggs and toast for Jeff, coffee for both. The conversation flows easy now. They talk about everything. School, work, the Nets' losing streak, normal father-son stuff. But underneath the normalcy is an understanding, an unspoken knowledge. Jefferson knows, has known for a while, maybe not with certainty but enough. The injuries that line up with Spider-Man's fights, the exhaustion, the timing, the way Miles disappeared the night Rio died and came back different. He has never said it out loud, never forced the confession. But sometimes, when Miles leaves the table to take a phone call, Jeff watches him with an expression that is pure fear mixed with pride. My son is Spider-Man, and I cannot protect him from what that means. You are doing good, Jefferson says suddenly. Miles looks up from his pancakes. What? Whatever you are doing, wherever you are going at night, you are making a difference, I see it. Jeff holds his son's gaze. And your mother would be so proud of who you are becoming. Miles' throat tightens. Thanks, Dad. They finish breakfast, hug in the parking lot. Jefferson holds on a little longer than necessary. Miles lets him. Be careful, Jeff whispers. Always am. It is a lie, they both know it, but it is the lie that lets Jefferson sleep at night. Miles' phone rings as he walks away. Unknown number, he answers. Miles Morales. The voice is young, female, familiar. Who is this? Gwen. Gwen Stacy, from Earth 65. Remember me? Miles stops walking. His heart rate spikes. Gwen, yeah, I remember. Good, because I am in your dimension, standing on top of your school actually. We need to talk. Miles is swinging toward Visions before she finishes the sentence. He finds her on the roof. Spider Gwen, white and pink suit, hood up. She is sitting on the edge, legs dangling, looking out at the city. Hey, Miles lands beside her, pulls off his mask, needs her to see his face. Hey yourself. Gwen pulls off her hood. Her hair is shorter than he remembers. Blonde bob with shaved sides. You look different. 2 years will do that. I heard about your mom. I am so sorry. The words hit harder than expected. No one outside his immediate circle knows how much that loss cost him, but Gwen understands loss. She lost her Peter Parker, her best friend, watched him die just like Miles watched Rio die. It gets easier, Miles says. People keep saying that, not sure I believe them yet. It does not get easier. You just get stronger. Gwen looks at him, really looks. You are not the same kid I met during the Inheritors Crisis. No, that kid died with his mom. Maybe, but someone better took his place. They sit in comfortable silence. Two spider people, two people who understand the cost of the mask. Why are you here? Miles asks. The multiverse is destabilizing again. Different threat this time. We are assembling a team. Spider people from across dimensions. I volunteered to recruit you. Another crisis. Is there ever not a crisis? Gwen smiles. But this one is big, reality ending big, we need the best. And you, Miles Morales, are one of the best. Miles thinks about that, about stepping off his Earth, leaving Brooklyn unprotected, the responsibility he carries, but he also thinks about the multiverse, about infinite Earths full of infinite people who need saving. When do we leave? Miles asks. Tomorrow. That give you enough time to get your affairs in order. Yeah, I will make it work. Gwen stands, offers her hand. Miles takes it. She pulls him into a hug instead. I missed you, she whispers. Missed you too. She swings away. A portal opens mid-air. She waves once and disappears through it. The portal closes. Miles is alone again, but not really. Not anymore. Somewhere across the multiverse, an entire community of spider people exists. And he is part of it, part of something bigger than Brooklyn, bigger than Earth. That night, Miles visits his mother's grave. He has not been here in months, could not bring himself to face the headstone, to see her name carved in marble like some kind of period at the end of a sentence that was not supposed to finish yet. But tonight, he kneels in the grass and talks to her. Hey, Mom, I know I have not been here. I am sorry. It is just hard, seeing this, accepting you are really gone. The wind rustles through the trees. Miles imagines it is her listening. I am leaving tomorrow, multiverse stuff, going to save other Earths with other spider people. Sounds insane when I say it out loud, but that is my life now. Insane is normal. He traces her name with his fingers, Rio Morales, beloved wife, devoted mother, hero. I think about what you said, keep saving them. I have been trying, every single day, and I will keep trying for the rest of my life, because you asked me to, because it matters. Miles wipes his eyes. I love you, Mom. I hope wherever you are, you know that. I hope you are proud of me. I hope I am living up to what you believed I could be. He sits there until the sun sets, until the cemetery is dark and the city lights flicker on like fireflies. Then he stands, kisses his fingers, presses them to the headstone. See you soon, not too soon, but someday. Miles swings home. His father is working late. The apartment is empty. He packs a bag, not sure what you bring to a multiversal crisis, but he throws in some clothes and web fluid cartridges. Gank shows up around midnight, lets himself in with the key Miles gave him years ago. Heard you are leaving, Gank says. How did you? Gwen called me, gave me a heads up. Wanted to make sure someone was watching Brooklyn while you are gone. I was going to ask you to keep an eye on things. Already on it. Got the police scanner. Contact info for Jessica Drew. I will make sure your neighborhood does not burn down. Miles hugs his best friend, his brother in everything but blood. Thank you for everything. I could not do this without you. I know, you tell me that every time. Gank grins. Go save the multiverse, I got Brooklyn. They play video games until 3 a.m., like old times, before the spider bite, before the wait, just two kids being kids. It is perfect. The next morning the portal opens in Miles' bedroom. Gwen steps through. Ready? She asks. Miles looks around his room, at the posters on the wall, the desk covered in sketches, the life he is leaving behind. Yeah, I am ready. He steps through the portal. What follows is a war across infinite realities. Miles fights alongside dozens of spider people, meets versions of himself from other Earths, sees worlds where he never became Spider-Man, worlds where he died, worlds where he is the only hero standing. The scale is incomprehensible, the stakes beyond imagining, but Miles does not break, does not falter. He leads, strategizes, uses his unique powers to turn impossible battles. The other spider people notice, start calling him by a new name, not the Brooklyn Spider, not the new Spider-Man, just Miles, because he has earned his own identity, his own legacy. The crisis lasts 3 weeks subjective time, feels like years. When it ends, when the multiverse stabilizes, Miles returns to Brooklyn. He has been gone less than an hour in his own timeline. Gank texts him. All quiet, no worries. Miles collapses on his bed, exhausted, traumatized, changed, but also certain. More certain than he has ever been about anything. This is who he is. This is what he was meant to do. Not because a spider bit him. Not because Peter Parker died. Not because his mother asked him to, because he chooses it every single day. The responsibility, the sacrifice, the weight. He is Miles Morales. He is Spider-Man. And he is exactly where he is supposed to be. Weeks later, Miles gives a speech at his graduation, valedictorian addressing the class. His father is in the audience. Aunt May, Gank. Jessica Drew in civilian clothes. Friends and teachers who have no idea the person on stage has saved the multiverse. Miles talks about loss, about finding purpose in pain, about choosing to be better than your circumstances, about responsibility. The crowd listens. Some cry. At the end, they give him a standing ovation. Jefferson approaches after the ceremony, hugs his son tight. Your mother would have loved this, Jeff whispers. I know. She would have loved who you have become. Miles holds his father, understands that Jefferson knows, has always known, and loves him anyway. That night Spider-Man swings through Brooklyn. The suit catches the light, red and black against the dark sky. Below people point, smile, a few cheer. Miles does not stop, just keeps swinging, keeps moving, keeps protecting the city that raised him. This is his legacy, not replacing Peter Parker, not honoring his mother's memory, just being himself, Miles Morales. The kid from Brooklyn who became something more, who proved anyone can wear the mask. Anyone can be a hero. The story is not over, it never really ends. There will always be another villain, another crisis, another impossible choice. But Miles is ready. He has died and been reborn, lost everything and rebuilt from nothing. He is not the Spider-Man the world expected. He is the Spider-Man the world needed. And somewhere in the space between dimensions, in the infinite web that connects all realities, his story continues. A thread in the great tapestry, a voice in the endless song. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, legend. The web keeps spinning, the city keeps calling, and Miles keeps swinging. Because that is what heroes do. They show up, they fight, they save who they can, they carry the weight, and they never ever give up. Next time, we uncover the complete tragedy of Gwen Stacy across every universe. The girl who was never meant to survive. How one version became Spider-Woman and changed everything. Until then, stay in the shadows. Keep the web strong. And remember, anyone can be Spider-Man.